You can call Saskatchewan a lot of things. You can call it humble, down to earth, relaxed, laid back, fun-loving, salt-of-the-earth welcoming people in a landscape cut from an oil painting. But for one weekend a year, it's home to the Gold Eagle Open. The cure for your end-of-summer blues. Camping by the beach, surrounded by disc golfers, the smell of barbecue and the sound of chains. Hanging out in the Players Lounge with 100 friends, listening to live music, watching the sun go down over Jackfish Lake, playing a glow round, and anticipating the best fireworks show in all of disc golf. A weekend to end weekends. And then you wake up and you realize you have one more round left at the intimidating and championship-level Jackfish Lake course high atop the Battleford Hills, culminating on the precipice of the most exciting finishing holes in the country, looking down on the lake far below. You can call this place what you want, but whatever you do, do not call it flat. It's the Gold Eagle Open, and it's gonna be explosive.
And there will be fireworks, guaranteed, both on and off the course. Welcome, everybody. It's the 2024 Gold Eagle Open, sponsored by Latitude 64, out here in Saskatchewan. This is Andre on commentary, and I got Jesse in the booth with me.
Hello.
Huge thanks to PDJ Canada and, of course, our patrons. Couldn't do this without your support. Like we mentioned, round one, Jackfish Lake. It's probably one of the best courses in Saskatchewan, and it's definitely up there on my top list in Canada for sure. It's not something you typically expect when someone says disc golf in Saskatchewan.
Yes, I haven't made the pilgrimage to the Golden Eagle Open yet, but I have seen some coverage, and this is a very cool hilly property, something you don't see too often.
First up on the card, we got Clint Bueckert from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And his fun fact is I knew Big Friendly before he was famous. A local guy here. Nice to see some local guys on coverage today.
Second up, we've got Sjoen Olson. I believe that's how you say it. And I have had the pleasure of playing with him once before. Super nice dude, super easy to get along with. And his fun fact is can't do backflips at weddings, but a good at Kaiser. I thought that said good kisser for a second.
Who knows? I wouldn't know. We also got Daniel Fortier here. He's from Regina, and he's got a few siblings here, and he's right in the middle. 5 boys, 5 girls. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, I've also had the pleasure of playing with Dan before. Great dude, big Discmania fan as well.
And rounding out our card here, another local. We got Jakob Martens here. Jakob Martens. Jakob, I pronounce it Jakob. He's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He has a tramp stamp.
That does not look like a guy that would have a tramp stamp.
And he says, guess what it is in the comments. Now, let's take a look at our Canadian Disc Golf Tour overall leaderboard up into this event. We got Casey and Cam tied at the top. Neither of them are playing at this event, though. And we got Martin from Ontario also not here, but Noah and Luke Levesque both having a chance to jump in the standings here.
Getting tight at the top of the leaderboard, it is always good to attend as many events as possible. You know, work up that leaderboard little by little.
You love to see it. Coming out to these events in Saskatchewan, it's a good way to get points and find yourself on. You have a chance to get in the top 10 if you're one of those guys kind of on the cusp.
Absolutely.
Start out here, we have hole 1. It's a par 3, 275 feet. It's uphill, and it can be quite a challenge. It plays a lot longer than 275 here. The challenge is landing your disc really nicely into this green here, as it has a tendency to let rollaways happen.
Yeah, it looks beautifully manicured, which could be to the detriment of a rolling disc.
Yeah. Over the last couple of years that we've been here, we've seen lots of rollaways on this one, and it doesn't take a huge arm. These guys should be able to get there with no problem. Kind of your stock hyzer, but it's all about how you play that green. First up, we got Clint. That's a great play, putting it right close. You can tell that there's a little bit of wind here that they're contending with too.
Yeah, definitely something you want to keep on that edge the whole way. Don't let it turn over, because that slope falling away is only going to make your disc get farther away.
Yeah, and these guys are making this hole look a lot easier. Like we said, getting that nice ground play and letting that disc settle near the basket.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of local advantage knowing how this one plays.
Yeah, exactly. And Dan maybe not quite in getting as much as he wanted on there, and he's going to have a little bit of a putt. It's uphill as well. See if Jacob can put it closer. This looks like it has eyes for the basket, but he settles it nicely up top.
Great opportunities for birdies for our group here. A little bit more for Dan Fortier, but getting the fortunate side of the basket, being able to take advantage of putting uphill and not being too scared of sailing one down.
Let's see if he can put this one in. Not quite the height. Maybe a little bit of nerves. First time on camera, I'm assuming, for Dan. And Jake here as well.
Yeah, first hole of the tournament is always a little nervy, and then getting these Park Pro cameras on, you can't make it any easier.
Sjoen putting that one in easily for the birdie. Clint as well. Dan will clean up his par, and that's that's not a bad way to start the tournament. Get your par or your birdie, get to the next hole. Let your game settle in.
Yeah, no drama on the scorecard. Oh, and we've got a double replay. I love it.
Yeah, brought to you by Deja Vu Cafe. These two excellent drives. Yeah, both those guys able to put those in for those easy birdies. Jump ahead to hole 4. We got Marshall Taves currently at +2. Looking at a long putt. Just missing. Marshall's dangerous from that distance as well. Got Logan putting in a long putt from par. He'll start off with 4 pars in a row. Got Al. See him on coverage from last year. His bogey to go. We got Chase as well. He was also on coverage quite a bit last year. Getting the birdie on hole 4.
Yeah, lots of familiar faces if you play disc golf in Western Canada. I know I've played with at least Logan at the Big Bear Classic.
Well, we're moving back to hole 2. It's a par 3, 471 feet. This is probably one of my favorite holes on the course. You have to put it up over top of all this grass. It's quite a bit of distance. It does play a little bit downhill if you can land in this area that the drone's flying over right now. But it's a very hard par 3, and you have to really put one out there if you want a chance at the birdie. See if Clint can get the distance on this one. Maybe not getting over on it enough. Too much of a hyzer.
Yeah, it looks like getting into those trees might be the most dangerous bunker on this hole. You can see the wind kind of picking up, and this one on top of the hill, very exposed.
Yeah, and I'm assuming with the way that the hill is, it's going to be pushing, the wind's going to be pushing up, and if you get your disc too high in the air, it's going to be pushing up into your disc and pushing it further to the left.
This looks better from Dan. Getting a nice little turn. Not quite the carry he needed, but that's a great position to get up and down.
This looks good. See if we can push a little bit further. Like I said, no one really really pushing the birdie territory there, but they should all have a good chance at par looks here. Let's see if Clint can get out. This is not looking like the area that you want to go. He goes OB on that shot. Maybe just got over a little bit too far on it.
Yeah, that is very tough. It's not a small task to carry the 471 feet in the wind and then also have to navigate the OB.
And that's a great up from Dan. Like we said, just get up, get your par, move on to the next hole.
Yeah, not tempting any long bids. And as I say that, looks like Sjoen might be winding one up. No.
Yeah, especially in this wind, the wind that they're contending with. So here's Clint after that OB penalty shot. Oh no, there's some ground play there. Catching the basket and getting the roll away.
Yeah, and into like the most dangerous part of the green. You're having to navigate the bush, but no problem for Clint. Stops the bleeding with a great putt, salvaging a double bogey after an errant drive and a wayward upshot.
The rest of these guys should have no problem putting in their pars. So you watch them clean it up here.
So this was the hardest hole of the day, playing a full stroke over par without a single birdie.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think one of the changes is that they did make that right side out of bounds, which I don't know if they've done in the past, but I think that helps pace of play, and unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of guys penalized for that. We got Noah Higgins here on hole 4. Looks like he's got a good putt lined up here. Great birdie from Noah. It's going to bring him to -1. Nice clean scorecard to start. There he is, Big Friendly, making his Geo 2024 debut. Maybe not the debut he wanted there. Leaving that putt a little bit low.
Great putt from Mark. And I do love to see the straddle putt. Good one from Kyle.
Here's Darian finishing out the card with a bogey.
We see an uh-oh on that scorecard. We'll have to check in and see what that was.
Here's Kyle from hole 5. Getting that one off the band. See if Noah can continue this birdie. Good clean scorecard from Noah.
Yeah, I know I harp on it every time he's on coverage, but Noah, one of the most exceptional putters in our game in Canada.
Mark able to get on the right track here after that uh-oh of a hole 4 and able to get a par on hole 5. Darian getting his par as well. Kyle will tap his in as well. Here we are, hole 3. It's a par 4, 750 feet. Your first shot, you're just going to want to get one out into some airspace and land it anywhere in this cut grass here. Find some nice flat footing, because your second shot, you have to be able to get it up past this fairway and over the you have to get it over the top of the tall grass here, because if you end up in the tall grass, you're almost guaranteed to have poor footing, and you want a nice good approach for this one.
Yeah, it does look like it finishes quite uphill, so potentially playing even more than 750 feet. That can be a big ask on a windy day.
Yeah, it all depends on which direction the wind is heading. I think this one's gonna, it's gonna go a little bit farther to the left than what Sjoen wants. I believe we have a right to left wind on this one, which is going to cause this to do what happened on that last throw. See if Dan can make the correction.
Yeah, if the camera is telling us the truth, he's looking like he's hanging out in that same bunker. It's very critical to find some fairway on holes like this, because when you're still looking at 350 plus feet on your second shot, you're definitely not doing it from a scramble stance.
Kind of in that same area. It might maybe they're trying to play this just to try to stay high up on that hill, and so they're not throwing up to the basket. But
Yes, and you were commenting the wind was right to left. They might be overplaying the wind, expecting a bit more push.
Now these paths are playing inbounds. The out of bounds is typically on the other side. Not sure what the ruling was there. But he's able to get out of there cleanly, it looks like.
That's dangerous from Sjoen, leaving it low and catching some tree on the way out. That's a nice correction.
Yeah, that is a great play. Finding the airspace that he needed, getting it out.
Clint here having the only drive in the fairway, looking to attack this basket.
And there you see the advantage of landing that disc in the fairway, having that good footing. Sjoen maybe made an early release from him there.
Yeah, just getting a little too touchy with it, and you heard him say it himself. He wasn't too impressed with that one.
Dan making the correction. Getting that one to land right close to the basket.
Another great placed upshot. Oh,
Sjoen unable to clean that one up. Just hitting cage.
yeah, super direct. Ton of snap on that putt.
Clint able to get the birdie here. That's a great bounce back hole from his last hole. You can see the smile and thumbs up, giving you the double thumbs up there. Jakob putting in the bogey. Rocking the nice stash. Dan putting in his bogey as well. And a double bogey for Sjoen. He'll want that hole back. You can tell from the body language. Let's take another look at this Clint upshot. Looking great. This replay brought to you by Deja Vu Cafe. Just a well-played shot.
Yeah, great touch from that far out.
Let's take a look at our scoreboard. We got Thomas Germain.
We were coached on how to say it properly before this, and now I can't remember either.
I can't either. Tied with Noah Higgins at the top here. And then we got Brandon Redekop, Logan Amy, Luke Levesque, Chase Samuel, Clint Bueckert, Eric Giesbrecht, Kyle Weens, and Dan Forte rounding out the top 10. Huge thanks to Gold Eagle Lodge for supporting this coverage and our scoreboard. Jump ahead to hole 7. Noah currently at the top. You can see that nice clean scorecard from him, as we keep mentioning.
Great shot.
This is a very difficult course to have that clean of a scorecard.
Yeah, the rough looks very punishing here. These guys are absolutely on.
Yeah. As you can see from where those guys are throwing, this plays a little bit to the right here with that Annie turnover shot. And Kyle unable to put that one in, but Noah keeping that birdie streak going.
Yeah, that basket almost said no, but another birdie for Noah.
And there's another great bounce back hole from Mark. Able to put that birdie in. Got Darian up next, the par, and that's a great score on this hole. You know, -2 for the card.
Yeah, uphill 350, requiring a lot of angle. It's well done.
We got hole 4. It is a par 3, 358 feet. This is maybe the most disc golf shape in my mind. It's basically your classic S. Put one up, put it over to the, it's gonna turn to the right, and then you want it to fade to the left. It's a classic right hand backhand shot.
Yeah, these are some of my favorite style of fairways to throw, because it's just asking for the disc to do what it's told. And yeah, absolutely beautiful.
But I mean, that's the challenge is getting that disc angle right off the top, because if you're a little bit too far over, is just going to carry over to the right and into the rough. And this does require a touch. As you can see, Clint here.
Looks
maybe,
a little pulled.
Yeah. I think he'll be able to get up for par there.
Yeah, stays away from the worst of the rough.
Yeah.
Dan going over the top here.
Hopefully this thing can stable out here. Unfortunately, not able to do it. Gets caught in those trees.
Yeah, I was trying just a little too much on that disc.
But that is the shape that you want. You want that maybe with a little bit less airspace and something that's just going to crash after you get that nice turn on there.
Yeah, Jacob takes the low line but overturns it, falls on the Anheuser line into the ground. And Sjoen going flat guy. Oh, and it's turning as well. Let's see if it can make it over the trees.
Doesn't look like he's going to get there. I wonder if that was a misrelease or if he just tried putting a little bit more hyzer on there and just didn't quite get it. As I mentioned, Clint able to get a nice upshot there, and he'll be able to save his par from there. Here's Sjoen from the trees, just trying to get it out.
Yeah, I see some leaves moving, so I'm not sure he got all of it. But hopefully if he gets on the other side of the wall there, it'll be a...
Dan was able to punch through to the other side here. Gives him a nice look here.
Yeah, that's a perfect thrown up shot.
Jacob scaring the basket. Here's Sjoen from distance, just looking to clean this hole up.
Ooh.
Little high and left, but
Yeah.
he gets it to drop.
They don't ask how, they ask how many. I'm sure his heart skipped a beat for a second there.
I think so. So watch Dan able to put his par in. And Sjoen probably wishing he had this hole back as well. So he puts in his bogey. And Jacob with the easy par look here. You have to wonder how many times these guys get up to this course, you know, being from Saskatoon and some of them from Regina and area. But you have to assume that they try to get up to this course as much as possible, being one of the better disc golf courses in Saskatchewan. As we watch Darian Kidd put this one over the bar. Mark here able to get his own little birdie streak going. There's Big Friendly. Looks like he's putting this one in from close. We'll see if it's for birdie or for par. That's a great, great drive from Big Friendly there to put a birdie in.
Yeah, and that puts him under par for the round. So if he can hang on to that, he should be on pace for a pretty good score.
There's Noah, currently at the top of the leaderboard, sitting at -4. Unable to keep his birdie streak going, but still able to get a par on that. As we take a look at hole 5, it's a par 3, 390 feet. This may be one of the more stock shots on this course, with a lot of fairway to play with, but it does funnel into a green area here. I think a lot of these guys are just going to look to crash it into the trees on the left-hand side and just hope they have a good shot.
Hole 18 at Worlds, down by 1. It's got to go in.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
It's crazy. I didn't know they got that footage of me from last week.
Yeah, inspiring another generation, it looks like. So we'll see if Clint and the rest of this card can inspire a generation of Saskatchewanites.
Oh, God, I don't have that one. People from Saskatchewan.
Let's take a look at Dan here. Like we said, putting that off to the left-hand side, maybe a little bit earlier than what he wanted, but Should be able to clean that one up. Jacob, a little low and right.
You know, if that had a couple feet more under it, I think it would have swung all the way and been parked.
Yeah. I think so too, but he is in that tall grass. He does have a look at the basket though, which is more than I think the other guys can say at this point. See if Sjoen can rebound from his last couple of holes. Might have a tough look.
Speaking of tough looks, Clint flying one in there. Oh, and he just catches the edge of the rough. Should drop him in the 25-foot kind of range.
Sjoen also not in an ideal spot here. Catching that branch. Some low foliage. Here's Dan able to just pitch this one out. Didn't really have the birdie look, but
Yeah, big enough gap to poke through and not have any unnecessary drama. Jacob gives it a good effort, a little under the basket, but I've got a feeling from looking at his putt, we'll see some big ones drop from him.
yeah, it's quite smooth, and it looks like he's just looking to settle into his round here. Unfortunately, Sjoen not able to settle in quite yet. Not getting that one to drop. Missing on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to walk away with the bogey here, especially with being relatively close. Maybe just taking some unnecessary risk on the upshot when an overhand to take the front bushes out altogether might have been the play.
Yeah, and I think the way that Sean's playing right now, I think it's a real testament to, trying to get your mental game back in order after a rough few holes. It's how do you challenge yourself to rebound from these bad holes.
Oh, and the roll.
Luke, unfortunately, the roll off the band. Let's see if Brandon can get his to drop.
Another splash and another roll. You gotta make a note for this hole. You don't want to lay up too far from the pin.
Yeah, these guys are putting from the underside, so if you're hitting metal, it's almost guaranteed to roll down. So we'll watch Luke able to put his next one in. Here's Thomas. He's 5 down, but unable to get that one to drop.
Oh, and another splash off the cage for Brandon Redicop. This is one of those holes where you don't expect that to be the outcome, and sometimes it sneaks up on you and it's too late. Yeah, double bogey for him. Lots of color on this scorecard and no green.
Yeah. Hole 6, it's a par 3, 234 feet, one of the shortest holes on this course, and it plays downhill. This one can be interesting though. It's blind off the tee. You have to sort of put one out over the tall grass and get it to drop in. But if you can just keep it low and work your way down to the basket here, you should have a look at birdie. Maybe one of the more challenging parts of this hole is that there are all these trees to contend with on the green. See if Dan can get this card started off on a good note here. To have that one crash down. Not quite sure where it landed, but it looks like it's going to be close to the basket.
Yeah, the plinko action in the circle you get makes this one, I want to say, even easier than what the numbers say. Anything that hits those trees is going to drop and likely leave you within the 30 feet.
Jacob going with forehand here, and I think this is the first forehand I've seen on this hole.
Nice width here from Clint.
Yeah, able to get that one to crash down nicely. If there was ever a hole that Sjoen needed to rebound on, this is it.
And sometimes the course gives you that opportunity, and this can be the hole that kind of brings the confidence back, puts some green on your scorecard, and sets you off right for the back nine.
Yeah, he doesn't leave himself the best look here, but he's not too far.
Oh, no.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, just a little skating on top of the rim, pushed off by the chains.
Jacob puts his in, but you can see Sjoen in the background, just not the best body language. You can tell he's not having the best round. He knows it. Hopefully he can clean it up.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. And some of the worst of us. Just about everybody in between.
Dan able to get this one to drop, even hitting chains on the left-hand side. But able to put that one in for birdie as we watch Sjoen put his in for the par.
This was the easiest hole of the day at a 50% birdie rate. And it only had one bogey. And it belonged to... No, I'm not going to out anybody for their for their poor play on the coverage.
All right, we got Thomas Germang is at -5. Noah Higgins tied at -5. We got Logan and Kyle followed behind them. And then we have a whole swath of people at even. We got Dan, Clint, Jacob, Eric, Luke, Brandon, and I'm sure a few others all rounding out our top 10.
Yeah, definitely showing that if you can keep your scorecard clean, you can be in contention here.
Yeah. And this is a hard hole, or hard, like we mentioned it before, it's a hard course to keep clean. And so you look at Thomas German here on hole 9, playing downhill.
Yeah, ripping that one.
Able to put this one close to the basket, but he will be in the rough. Here's Eric on a bit of a par streak.
Yeah, beiging it out. But he's got a nice width to not end up in the trees, even if he's a bit short.
Luke kind of having a roller coaster of a round here.
Man, yeah. I think the amount of hyzer he threw that on, he was either expecting the wind to do something a lot different or meant to pull that one out a little wider.
Mm-hmm. Here's Brandon. Probably played this course a few more times than Luke has.
Yeah, another one that's, circle's edge, circle 2. Yeah, whoever's disc is sitting there did a great job. And
there's Thomas just putting that one over top.
Oh, so close.
There's Luke. That was his par putt.
Yeah, he must have had some work to do from the rough to end up there.
Thomas able to put his par putt in. Looks like it was Eric that was that close. Might have been his upshot, though.
That would have been Eric's upshot based on how wide he threw. Yeah.
Whole bunch of pars.
A bunch of pars. I thought we might see one. 470 feet downhill in the wind is a fairly tall task, though.
Here's hole 7. It's a par 3, 352 feet. It's uphill. It's quite a bit uphill, and a lot of these guys are just going to put something on a big anhyzer and try to land it onto the green here.
Yeah, if that hill is the way it looks on camera, that's got to be taking 425 plus feet of power.
Oh yeah, I'd say at least. I mean, the challenge is getting that angle right, because it's not the end of the world if you shoot one straight and land to sort of kind of on the bottom right-hand side. Give yourself a chance at the putt, but if you want to get it close, you got to make sure you got that angle right. Dan just getting that one up, giving himself a long look.
Yeah, I think anything that's past the corner to give you a look at the basket here is good. I think the big mistake is if you get that anhyzer moving too far right and end up in jail. The right side rough looks fairly punishing.
Here's Jacob, maybe just getting a little bit too much air under that disc.
Yeah, maybe not getting the turn he expected, and it's hard to do when you're throwing at such an angle to go up the hill.
Yeah. Here's Clint. That's not what you want to do. A little bit low, out of his hand. Fortunately, catching that bush at the start. Sjoen taking more of a direct through here.
Yeah, that flipped up and pushed, and unfortunately that's just about the point he released it on.
Here's Clint's recovery shot. Still shooting uphill.
Yeah, just a little overturned into the trees. It looks like if you're far enough, the gaps are serviceable. But if you're on the backside of those trees, I can't imagine it's easy getting through.
Mm-hmm. There's Dan just putting it up for his par. Here's Sjoen.
Oh.
Flash at the basket.
And Clint's gotten away with one here.
Yeah, he had a look there. Look for his par. There's Sjoen. And it's left side chains again for Sjoen.
Yeah, there's just some kind of hiccup where he keeps repeating that same motion.
Yeah. Jakob putting that one high into the chains, but gets it to drop. As Clint cleans up his bogey. There's Dan putting in the par. Sjoen with another bogey. Sometimes it's just not your day, you know?
Yeah, I think he'll get something going. Confidence is probably the most valuable currency in this sport.
Agreed, yeah. And you know Sjoen is capable of putting these putts in. He's just, like you said, he's just got something that's not working right now. Here's hole 8. It's that par 3, 356 feet. It's downhill. But this one is all about placement on the green because it is a challenging green. As you can see here, it's a side hill and it's not steep.
It's yes steep.
It's yes steep.
It's tucked behind the trees as well, so you do need to give yourself some placement, or you look like you could be pitching up from 60 feet.
And this is the perfect shot of what the green looks like. There's really only 2 good landing spots here. It's a very demanding green. This is the play you'll see most people try to get the hyzer play just to try to give themselves a look. And that's a great shot from Dan. Here's Jakob. I think up a little bit high and maybe in that bush. He'll have to contend with that.
I definitely think placement under the basket, giving you the green light to putt up at it, is going to be much more advantageous than trying to have to putt both for your stance and the results on the side hill.
Agreed. And you can tell Sjoen doesn't like this one out of his hand. Just didn't quite get the power that he wanted on that one.
You almost got to the spot.
A couple of great drives, though.
Yeah, absolutely. No one in too much danger. And Sjoen here can, lay this guy up and hopefully walk away with a fairly stress-free par after not his best work off the tee.
Here's Sjoen through that one gap. Dan through the gap. Getting banned, but stays on top.
Yeah, stays up. That's what you want to see. Because I'm sure when he's winding that putt up, he's definitely not thinking about how well the disc is going to stick.
That's a great putt from Clint.
Yeah.
And that's a good birdie to get. It's Jakob from the tree here. Just trying to find the gap that he wants it. Oh, unable to get it to drop, but again, able to get it to stick, which is very important on this green. We saw a couple of rollaways, so having your disc settled down close to the basket is important. So look at Jakob cleaning up his par, and Dan with the fantasy football jersey.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what that is. That's his fantasy football team.
Well, hole 8 was a very balanced hole. That played exactly to par.
Well, there you go.
It was a 3.0. I've never seen that before. 4 birdies, 2 bogeys, and the double we saw Brandon Redekop unfortunately take in our check-in.
Speaking of Redekop, here he is on hole 10. They land this one up. Most of these guys on this hole are just looking to settle one there, but Thomas has an opportunity here.
Yeah, wow.
Knows to
Dead
save
center.
par.
Yeah.
That's a great par save.
It's good to have that in you, that when you need it, you've got it.
Eric with another par. He's got that par streak. Keeps that par streak going. So
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. Hole 10 will be part of our back nine, so you'll have to hang on for part 2 of this coverage to see it. But what a putting green. I'm sure it produces all the excitement.
before we get to that, we have hole 9. It's par 3, 469 feet. You're at the top of the course, maybe one of the tallest points of the course. And it's just a big shot down the hill. And as you can see, there's a couple of fairways on your right-hand side. The amateurs are going to try to lay one up into that first area there. But these guys with these arms, they're going to try to hit this top green here and try to just land it as close to the basket as they can.
Yeah, this has got to be a fun one to stand up on a casual round and unload your bag on.
Can be kind of a challenging green. A lot of discs end up on the long grass on the left there, presenting quite a few challenging putts.
Yeah, it definitely looks like some of the thicker rough on that left side surrounding the basket.
Here's Clint. He's up first. It's always kind of risky going first on these holes because you're giving the other guys the wind read, but this is looking like a great shot from Clint.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, you go from giving the guys a win read to putting the pressure on to keep up, because that was a heck of a shot.
Yeah. Here's Dan. Also a great shot. These guys are making this hole look easy.
And this... Oh, it's got the stability to come back. I thought Jake might have launched one there.
He will be putting from the long grass, but, you know, it's pretty open from there, so. Here's Sjoen. Looking to right the ship.
It's a little high, but it's coming in on a great angle.
Yeah, and if he didn't go in there too deep, he's going to have a good look for a putt here.
Yeah, it is thick in there, but sometimes that works to your advantage and keeps them on the edge.
Here's Jacob from the grass on the right-hand side and just putting this one up nicely, getting his par. As we see Clint unable to capitalize.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. I'm sure he'd like back.
That's how close Sjoen was, and that's going to do something for your confidence.
Yeah, I love to see that for Sjoen after the start he's had. He hits that one from a knee.
And a great putt from Dan as well, asking for it to settle. Maybe a little bit of a lower putt than what he wanted, but able to get it to drop. So we watch Clint put it in his par. Jacob should have no problems cleaning up his as well. Probably one of the better mustaches in Saskatchewan, I'd say.
That is true. Maybe... I know the DGPT did the best facial hair last year. I would love a Canadian Disc Golf Tour best facial hair.
Yeah, totally.
That mustache would be on the list for sure.
Right. Coming soon. Best facial hair on the Canadian Disc Golf Tour. So take another look at these drives from Deja Vu Cafe. There's Sjoen putting his nice and close. He was able to get that one to drop. Here's Eric on hole 11. Can he keep the par streak going? Little step, but just unable to get that one to drop. Here's Brandon.
Just shy.
So close. Luke, always dangerous on the putting green. Showing some frustration there. Obviously not having the best day. You know he's capable of putting up numbers.
And Thomas gets his par to be through 10 holes without a blemish on the scorecard.
Yeah, and he's sitting up top the leaderboard, up there with Noah. So important to keep that card clean. So we round out our front 9 coverage. We got Noah on top at -6, Thomas, who we just saw, -5, Kyle -2, Daniel Fortier -1. You've got Clint, Jacob, Eric, Luke, Brandon, all at even. Tony rounding out our top 10 at +1.
Yeah, and the thing we said on our last scoreboard check-in still rings true. If you are even playing clean, that still puts you in the top 9. You're getting paid for playing safe, doing all the simple things right.
Yeah, I mean, you look out there, the top 5, even. That's if you can be under even, then you're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, catch us for round 1 back 9 coverage.
See ya.